Hey yo, we put free money where the mic is. He got it on lock like Rikers. Green rebates get you paid, so a lot of people like us. Money Talks Podcast, watch it on all your devices. Woo!
Welcome back to the Money Talks Podcast. I clocked you a couple hours ago and I said, I need to interview this guy. I don't know what he does or who he is, but he looks like someone I need to interview. So thank you so much for sitting down with me. What brings you to what brings you to Lucky Leaf?
So I'm actually working with a hemp farm, soon to be cannabis farm. And I kind of do sales, marketing, networking, events, and event planning for them. And I kind of just created Minnesota's largest cannabis festival.
Just happened to happen. And what's your name? I didn't even get your name.
It's Sergio. So Sergio Villarreal, Hispanic descent. There's not many of us in this industry, so just putting on for the brown skins everywhere.
Fuck yeah,
baby.
baby.
Just having a fun time. So
representing.
Yes,
so
sir.
I want to know about you before we get into the festival, because
sir.
I have a ton of questions and we're going to talk about whatever this is. But I want to know, you as a kid, when did you that first moment you fell in love with cannabis? Do you remember it?
Vividly. So actually why I started out my cannabis journey is because I actually lost my older brother. So that's something that we enjoyed. Just always would take little roaches from the ashtrays, smoke them on the way to school. Just, degenerates having fun, and it was always our dream to monetize not only the plant but the medicine. So it was more, using it medically for stresses or stressors, just having a good time with the plant itself. So when he passed, it was kind of like, I'm all in now. I don't have anybody to talk to or like baby me. Like it was his dream, and like it's like now I'm the one running the show. I'm the one that has to get that validation. So when it's my time, he's up there and like, you did a good job, brother. You did a good job. So that's really what I do, and that's what I take into my business, to my festival. Just what would my brother want? What would he do? And would he be proud of me when my time comes?
Amazing. Well, rest in peace. It feels like his spirit is still kind of guiding you.
Yes, sir.
Today.
Yes, sir. Always, man. He is my blessing. He is
that.
He's my North Star, man. I know he's up there setting stuff right for me and putting me down the right path, man.
I love it. So in what ways did cannabis act as a medicine for you?
So, especially after losing him, it was just a dark time, just battling with myself. So it was more about anti-depression, more about the anxiety, about being just around in the cities where I would see places that we would go and just have fun and just like, just that stab to the heart. But instead of doing man-made opioids, go to cannabinoids. Mm-hmm. So it's more like staying off that man-made stuff and more towards just the natural plant, the medicine, and just how it's supposed to be. That's how I picture it's supposed to be.
Awesome. And you're born and raised in Minnesota?
Yes, sir.
Local.
Yes, sir.
Wow. So what was the childhood like in Minnesota? Like, are you like Minneapolis proper, outside of Minneapolis?
So Twin Cities, so St. Paul,
cool.
So on the west side, over by the Boys and Girls Club, El Rio, Cesar Chavez. It was kind of hard back then, just being brown, and they already have that stigma about you. But a lot of the cops around here have actually had a different outlook. So instead of beating you down for it, it's, hey, step on it, throw it in the garbage, do stuff like that. So I've been on, both sides of it, but I was about to move out of the state until they were like, hey, we're going to legalize it. And I was just like, I got to stay. I got to see it through.
Nice.
I got to see it through.
Right. You got to, the powers and like who you are as a person, you got to help out your hometown. You got to help out your state rather than help a different state.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So yeah, what does like being from Minneapolis mean to you? Like, how prideful are you to be, or just to be from Minnesota?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very prideful. I think we have some of the best cannabis that the country has to offer, and it's now being looked at as that. Like we're competing with California and all these other legal states, Arizona, and I have some friends that are doing battles. So they grab some of Minnesota's home grow, some of the people that are known in Minnesota, and put it up against some of the best that all these other states have to offer. And Minnesota's actually putting out great results, you know,
Yeah.
better than we thought, especially for the market just blooming, for people just now growing on their 4th, 5th grows, to just be competing with the out-of-state operators who've had numerous years to do it. I couldn't be, more ecstatic than to just be from that state that's actually providing great cannabis, great medicine, and just have great people, man.
Did you ever picture this would happen? Did you ever picture a world where cannabis was legalized in Minnesota?
No. So if you would have told high school me that I would have been walking around in a weed suit, just, terping people out and, just loving on people, I would have never thought it would have been possible,
Right.
just especially coming from a Hispanic household where it's so stigmatized. I would have never thought that it was possible. I was like, no, you're crazy,
Mm-hmm.
your mom and dad don't support it, your grandparents don't support it, you're insane for even thinking that it's gonna do that. And
Yeah.
what a 180, man. What a
Yeah.
180.
It's a beautiful thing. So after you graduate high school, you're 18, 19, 20 years old. Have you always worked in cannabis, or did you have any other jobs like just to give you income while you were making these dreams come true, or like?
Yeah. So I actually was a mechanic before this. I worked on cars. I worked for AAA. It was just when my brother passed away, like I said, we would just be degenerates, just talk about it. Like, oh, maybe we could make some money on this medicine, or maybe we could grow, or maybe we could do this in the future. But it was like, when he passed, it was like I lost a little part, and I was just like, I need to do this not only for me but for him. So I took I took a pay cut just to get into a distribution plant, and then who's now my business partner walked in, and they had just started their THC focus for the farm. They had their gummies, and I was just hungry. I was hungry for knowledge, hungry to just get my dreams started. So I was just like, it was 2 days she was there, and I didn't stop asking her questions.
Nice.
Every time I walked by, I was, how did you get your start? What is going on? Like, how can I make, like she looked so happy. Like, how do I get to your spot?
Yes.
How do I get to your spot? How do I realize my dream? And ever since then, I haven't looked back. They gave me my shot. They were just like, you're a good street kid. You know what you're doing. You're up to date. You show passion, and it's just like, I just never looked back. I was like, I'm in here for a higher power, and I just can't look back.
Yeah. No, it all comes down to passion and motivation, like
Yes,
what
sir.
drives you. And you have your brother, that was the driving force, and you were just going to take no for an answer.
Yes, sir.
You weren't
Yes,
gonna
sir.
So what was it? Was there like a moment where you felt like, oh my God, I'm arrived. I am a player in the cannabis industry. I did it.
So it was actually when Doobie Dabbler actually started, when we actually started letting people in.
Well, let's talk about that. So how did Doobie Dabbler come about? Because you throw festivals, biggest festival in Minnesota, which is amazing. So how did you kind of get that idea?
So I was actually just blessed. The owner of the farm, Nicola, she wanted to do a festival on our family grounds, Seavers Fall Festival. She wanted to do something crazy, a 21 plus event, a green event. Well, there was only 2 people that were doing festivals in Minnesota that I wanted to pair up with. The first one, his dream is to just have one of the biggest festivals in the Twin Cities. So it just didn't work out. But then our partners now, Dabbler Depot, they did primarily, alcohol events. And I was just like, hey, do you want to do your first green event? It would be our first green event. We have a great venue. It's on our grounds. It's private property. And it just, the planets aligned, brother. The planets aligned. They were just like, yes, we'd love to do it. And within like a month, we had the name. I was going out there doing the street team. So our first year, we had no marketing.
No way.
We had about 6,000 to 8,000 people show up with no marketing, just our vendors.
Just word of mouth?
Just word of
Wow.
mouth, man. So this year we have 3 radio stations, 2 news stations, and Pioneer Press and Bloom Magazine are picking us up.
So this is the second year you're
This is
doing
going to
it?
be the second annual
Wow.
Doobie Dabbler.
Do you have like artists, like performers? And
Yes, sir. So
Nice.
we had 4 stages our first year. We have 2 stages this year. About 40 food vendors. We had 80 vendors our first year. We're capping vendors this year at 160 just because we're going to have a wait list now.
Yeah.
It's going to be Minnesota's premier cannabis event, and it's consumption. So we were gifting, donating, playing bingo for live cannabis. We had free accessible dab bars. So you could just dab to your heart's content. We had motocross shows, 50-foot slides, zip lines. We have Minnesota's third largest corn maze, hay rides, of course, music, cannabis vendors.
Fucking sign me up, dude.
Yeah.
What's the larger impact that throwing an event that brings that many like-minded people together, what's the larger impact it has on the industry, specifically in Minneapolis?
Yeah, so just it's really providing a people and a space for people to be able to consume wherever they want and love on the plant. Right now, a lot of them, you have smoking areas, you can't smoke here and there. So my focus wanted to be on the vendors. I've vended at over, I want to say 100 events, and not everybody loves on the vendors. They're just like, they're an afterthought. They're just here. They're gonna make money. Well, at my events, I want it to be vendor focused. I want them to feel like they're here, because I tailored this event for the little guys, for the people like myself, where I was just like, how do I get a start? Well, there's a festival where over 100 companies are gonna be at. Go there, talk to people, experience it. And I also tailored it so that way when somebody who doesn't know anything about cannabis shows up to my festival, they not only leave with product, but they leave with the knowledge on how it's grown, what medias, what's the difference between indoor, outdoor. Yeah. I want them to leave with not only product, but knowledge. Knowledge is power.
It is, and there's going to be a lot of, like, in 20 years, there's going to be someone who made $1 million in cannabis, and he's going to say in an interview, it was because of your event. I swear.
I hope so.
This is where the magic starts. Is events that where people are being brought together and they're loving on the plant, and they're not the egos, or you're detaching yourself from the ego and you're just getting along with each other and learning about other people. So that's amazing. It's also, I've thrown events too. None as big as this, but I've thrown shows, and it's a shit show.
Yes, it is.
But, like, how did you stay sane while throwing your first event? Because you didn't have experience throwing events, and now you're throwing the biggest event in Minnesota. Were there moments where you're like, there's no way this shit's gonna happen?
Oh, I tell people I've lost years off my life. I literally have lost years, sleep, acquaintances, friends. I've lost everything for this festival. But it has become something great. And I put so much work in the first year where now it's like, we can kind of not relax, but, we're not working as hard this year. So it's just a peace of mind, just knowing that people that I don't even know are coming up to me and saying, you're the Doobie Dabbler guy.
Yeah.
You created this festival. You created something great. And even businesses like, hey, I got my start at Doobie Dabbler. Now I would like to sponsor and give back. That's what it's created for. That's what I wanted. The little people that don't have $500 for their first year, but hop in with another vendor and they take off.
Right.
Because they have amazing product. They're amazing people. And I need that to be the forefront of this festival, where it's the little guys, the people that have awesome ideas, great product, have them elevated.
Love it. So, oh, my bad.
Sorry, your chair is so close to falling.
Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah. I was like, you are.
Oh, that could have been a viral. That could have been a viral moment. But before the event, like, what was your before Doobie Dabbler, when you were like making money in cannabis? Tell me more about like your journey that led to that. Led to like you having enough kind of respect in the industry to be able to throw an event.
Yeah. So pretty much, I started off just account hunting, going from business to business, selling our seltzers, our seltzers, our gummies, our topicals, just everything legal. And it was just kind of just showing that it's more than just a product. It's a lifestyle. It's a medicine. And everybody just gravitated towards me for some reason. And like I said, it's my brother. I'm an introvert. He was the extrovert. He had all the friends.
You're an introvert wearing a suit like this?
I'm telling you. I am telling you. I did a 180 when he passed, but it's been amazing. It's it's been a ride, brother. I can't thank everybody enough, because I would just be a crazy dude in a weed suit saying something about an event, and if none of these vendors that showed up and brought the experience, brought that energy, brought that vibe, if none of them would have showed up, I would have just been a crazy guy in a weed suit.
Right.
So it's the vendors that create these festivals. It's the vendors that like make the festival or the event great.
Right.
So,
well, you still are a crazy guy in a weed suit, but there's more to you. Than
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because when people first see you in the weed suit, what's their first thought, you think?
So first thing is that dude can definitely smoke. That dude has some dank. But then it's just, let me have a picture, and I love it. I would love for the cannabis industry to be as recognized as the alcohol industry, as accessible as the alcohol industry. There's an alcohol store on every single corner. Why can't there be a dispensary as well? It's medicine. It helps people, and I can't stress that enough, that just deleting the stigma, creating events like this, creating podcasts like this is deleting the stigma little by little, and you're fighting the good fight.
Totally. And it's learning, like, after we started this podcast, I learned that there's so many parallels to other industries. Like, people want to alienate cannabis, but there's business practices that other like fields could learn from cannabis.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There's so many just sharp shooting professionals. Like, I thought it would just be people showing up late to the podcast, not taking it seriously, but people are like, there's like more at stake, it seems like.
No, it's a lifestyle now. So people are actually wanting a job in the cannabis industry. When I was little, that was never a thing. It's like, you're gonna go to jail, and it's like people are finding careers. Like people in school and college are like, oh, let me go to college to, grow weed, to start a business in that. That's amazing. That's it's a step in the right direction.
It is, because it's a medicine. It's a plant, and like we have to continue to. The thing is, I'm not even a guy who smokes weed. I wish I could, but I get panic attacks, but I love the plant so much, and I still am trying to get. Maybe I could pick your brain on this. I'm trying to get to a point where I could find the perfect weed for me that doesn't send me into a spiral.
Yep. Yeah. No. Yep. So there's actually a strains just for you, high on the CBD, low on the THC. So it's the more medicinal side of cannabis. So when people think of weed, cannabis, the devil's lettuce, they think of the 25s, the 30s, the 35%. Well, there are some with 4-5% THC, or 9% CBD, and then on the lower 15% THC. So you're still getting that nice feel of smoking. You're just not getting that crazy head high, that paranoia feeling. You're getting more of the body high, the more medicinal effect. The aches and pains are now leaving type stuff, but it still gets you a little buzz.
Right. I just want to like lay down, watch a documentary, and not think about like when my parents are gonna die.
Yes, sir. Yes, sure. Yep.
But it's I envy people who could just like smoke weed all day, every day, and just be productive too. Because like the stigma around weed was you melt into the couch and you can't get shit done. But then I work in the music industry, and I'm like, these guys are making platinum records and they're high the entire time.
Yes, sir.
That stigma's killed.
Yes, sir.
So where did being someone born and raised in Minnesota, are you happy with where cannabis is in 2025? What are some of the things that you think maybe could be tweaked? Because I know there's a lot of frustration, people waiting for licenses, et cetera.
Yeah, so I mean, the biggest one is licenses should have already been here. So I mean, I'm not going to touch too much on that. I mean, that's the biggest thing that's killing everybody. That's the biggest thing that's holding everybody back is the licenses. We're all here. We're all ready. We're all geared up to do it. We're just waiting. It's just a waiting game right now to see who has their hand in the cookie jar and who's going to get a cookie on their way out. So that's the biggest thing. Another thing is the concentrate levels, just it being capped at 70. It's going to kill the concentrate game. So yeah, there's a couple things to be tweaked, but I'm trying to just get the word out there that everything's not burning, guys.
Yeah.
You know, like we're at a low time. We're at probably the lowest it's going to be. But in a couple months, we're going to be at the highest it's ever going to be. We're going to have dispensaries. We're going to have flower. So it's just calm down. Nothing's burning. We're just, we'll get there. It stoner philosophy. We'll get there when we get there. You know, it might be a little bit slower road, but we'll get there.
Exactly. You're such a good voice. Like, you're not only a guy who throws events, but it seems like you're a voice that the cannabis community in Minnesota needs right now.
Yes, sir. I tell everybody I'm a man for the community, by the community. I wouldn't be in this position that I'm at without all of you guys, all of the people that have shown me so much support. I would be nowhere without them. So
Yeah.
I stay humble. I know where I came from. I'm a nobody. I will continue to be a nobody. But if I can be, that nobody to somebody, I will be it.
Hey, the philosopher Socrates, his famous quote, "The one thing I know is I know nothing at all."
There you
that
go.
is, we should just always be continuing to learn. And
Yes,
it seems
sir.
like you pride yourself in your capacity to learn.
Just being hungry for knowledge, man. Knowledge is power, and just being hungry in that sense is the main thing that drives me.
Totally. So, is your full-time gig right now like event planning, or do you still work for the distribution company that you were talking about?
So I actually work for Veris, which is actually a hemp farm, soon to be cannabis farm. So they
Nice.
have all their gummies, seltzers, topicals, CBD oils. So we're kind of just pushing product there with all the Minnesota dispensaries, tobacco shops, MGM, like liquor stores and stuff like that.
Cool.
So we're kind of just moving there, just waiting pretty much.
Yeah.
Our heart's always been in cannabis, in the medicinal plant that it can be.
Cool.
So it's kind of just showing people that hemp is the precursor. So hemp is like, the baby steps into cannabis. So, just showing all the new people, because my grandparents can't just go eat a cannabis infused gummy, that has 50 milligrams. No, they have to start out with the 5s. They have to, the people that have the hardest stigma, I want to go after and talk to those people. Like, try this little stuff, try what's in the market right now, baby steps. And then when flower hits and stuff, then you'll be able to, give it a fair shot. Because right now, everybody's scared. Everybody's like, oh, back in the 80s, this, that. And it's just like, well, we're not there anymore. It's a new day. It's a new age. We're using it for medicine. People are actually doing studies on this now. Like,
Yes.
It's amazing. It's awesome to just see just where it was when I was younger to where it is now.
Yes.
And just all the studies and all the medicine and all the greatness that it's bringing.
Right. To just always remind ourselves like how far we've come, because I always use the analogy like while you're climbing to the top of the mountain, it looks like you've got a long way to go, but don't forget to turn around and see how far that you've already climbed. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir. Yes,
So-
sir. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah. So let's talk about this event that's coming up. What's the date for it? Give it a plug. Who's performing this year? Because I feel like freaking flying out to Minnesota for it.
Yeah, so it's Doobie Dabbler. It is September 5th and 6th. It's Minnesota's largest cannabis festival. And I also want to give a shout out to the Legacy Cup. So they were somebody who had, done the big events, and they were a big inspiration for us. So it's just, showing love to where we came from. So it's going to be 40 football fields worth of cannabis stuff. So,
Wow.
and when I say cannabis, it's the legal, 5 milligrams, but we were also gifting, donating, playing bingo for live cannabis, free accessible dab bars, just a place where people can come, love on the plant, and like I said, leave with product, but also leave with the knowledge that where the stuff is coming from. It's all about the farmers. It's all about the growers, the people that actually mean the most in this industry. Those are the guys that I want to put on the pedestal.
Awesome. Well, I think that's a perfect ending point. Thank you so
Yeah,
much, not
no,
only for
thank
stopping
you.
by, but just for being such a positive force
Thank
in the
you.
cannabis industry, man.
No,
You're
thank
doing
you for
great.
doing this podcast. This is amazing. Like this is awesome. This is what I want. I want to
Yes.
delete the stigma little by little.
Yes.
And we are going to have a podcast booth at Doobie Dabbler, so I would love to have you guys come on
Yes.
down, have some fun.
September 5 and 5
5
and 6.
and 6, yes,
I'll get
sir.
the boss man to fund it. We'll just sell him on the idea. He's fucking full of money. That guy's
Yes,
rolling
sir.
in.
Yes, sir. Well, I would love to have you down there and just have some fun, man.